Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 148. Without any delay, start explanation. The operations of evil soul masters have been increasingly rampant lately. It has reached the point that they need to be taught a lesson. The Federation has sent us a request, hoping that we could collaborate with them to combat this growing threat. The only way to counter the mysterious appearance of these evil soul masters is by strengthening each city's safety measures, as well as gathering more military forces to guard them at all times. The Sea God Pavilion Master continued, will approve of the Federation's application while the Academy's inner court disciples will aid in the siege on the evil soul masters. At the same time, contact the Tang sect. Mobilize all our contacts and search for the evil masters' whereabouts. Report to us as soon as there's news. Yes, all the elders responded in unison. Pavilion Master, there is another matter. The Star Luo continent representative expressed hope that we would send an exchange team to their academy. You see, Elder CAI spoke. The Pavilion Master gave a slight smile. Accept their request. Send the outer court's outstanding first and second grade students. Limit the number to 10 people for now and assign Wu Zhongkong to lead the team. The new students of both years aren't bad, especially the first grade. This Tang Wulin is stirring things up. We must have him on the list so that the evil soul master won't come for him. Zhenhua raised his brows slightly but said nothing. Scarlet Dragon Doluoshwasha spoke, Pavilion Master, those striplings have yet to form their abilities. Wouldn't it be? The Sea God Pavilion Master waved his hand. The representative of the Star Luo continent just arrived not long ago. They won't be leaving so soon. The Academy should adjust the resources for the youngsters accordingly so that they can elevate as soon as possible. We are going for an exchange, not to show off our own prowess. There is no need to send students of higher grades from the inner court. Outstanding students of the same age are the really exceptional ones. Elder CAI nodded and said, yes, they'll only return to Star Luo continent around half a year later. That's why they've just sent us their application. The Sea God Pavilion Master said, then it's set. You'll be selecting the candidates. Yes, CAI responded respectfully. The discussion proceeded with some countermeasures and overall planning as to how to handle the evil soul masters. Meanwhile, Tang Wulin and Gu had no idea that this discussion took place. They had just arrived in class. Fortunately, it was Xinyi's class that day instead of Wu Xiaokong's. Although he was surprised that they were late, Xinyi allowed them both to attend class without pressing any further. Our class president is late? Are you so happy that you didn't want to come back? Xie bumped into Tang Wulin and asked softly with a smirk. Tang Wulin glared at him. Yes. I was so happy that I didn't want to come back. You should try it too next time. Then you'll know exactly what that's like. Why would he be so happy that he didn't want to return? He should feel lucky that he survived. Xie proceeded to wink at him. Even Xu Xiaoyan, Xu Lishi, Yi Xinglan and the rest looked at Tang Wulin and Gu in an odd way. Wu Sidua looked on from a short distance. He frowned as he watched Tang Wulin and then Gu. Tang Wulin, Gu, come here, Xinyi called the both of them to the office as soon as the class ended. What's wrong with you two? What kind of example are you setting for your classmates when the class president and vice president are both late at the same time? Moreover, the two of you were over an hour late. Come, will you tell me what happened? Although Xinyi was not as strict as Wu Zhongkong, she was not all kindness and pleasantries. Especially when first grade class 1's result ranked on top while teachers and students of other grades were watching. Tang Wulin scratched his head. We encountered an evil soul master and almost didn't make it back. He did not hide anything and told every single detail that happened during their trip to Heavendoe City and about Zhenhua sending them back himself. Are evil soul masters so unrestrained now? Xinyi frowned in a slightly gloomy expression. Tang Wulin immediately responded. I know. They even wanted to assassinate my uncle master. It's clear that they are trying to conquer the power of the soul master world. There must be a scheme behind this. Xinyi nodded slightly. All right then, put it out of your minds. The both of you can leave now. The match with 3rd grade Class 1 is in a few more days. Please prepare yourself and don't get beaten too badly. Tang Wulin smiled and said, Why are you so sure that we will lose? Xinyi replied, Then win the competition if you can. If you beat 3rd grade Class 1, the Academy will pay for all of the materials needed to make one-word battle armor for each of the participants. Tang Wulin's eyes lit up. Really? One must know that the amount of rare alloy needed to forge battle armor for that many people doesn't come cheap. On top of that, making the core circuits takes more than only rare alloy. They also needed some unique energy and precious stones to activate the circuit's base and storage. All of this requires money. Essentially, the core components are the most vital part in the making of battle armor. They are usually located in the middle of the breastplate, while some are placed on the helmet. Making the core circuits was the most difficult step and also the one requiring the most expensive material. Yes, I've asked Elder CAI and he agreed to it. He told me that the Star Luo continent representative team had invited our academy to do an exchange with their continent. Elder CAI is interested in selecting candidates from the outer court's lower grade. Thus, as long as you display adequate ability, we should have some adjustments to our resources later on. That's great. Tang Wulin was so excited that he almost jumped up. Shrek Academy had traditions stretching back tens of thousands of years. How could they not be seen as worthy? Although the Spirit Pagoda had great wealth, money could not be compared with heritage. Their time taken to achieve one-word battle armor mastery would be greatly shortened if the Academy could provide them with the required resources and support. Where are you going? Gu asked Tang Wulin as they walked out the door. Tang Wulin replied, I'm going to the special cultivation venue to train. I'll be there through the night. I guess we no longer have to work on our coordination and routines. We'll work on the battle methods together and practice with the rest tomorrow and the day after. Let's give it our all. Perhaps we really do have a chance at beating our 3rd grade seniors. The chances are slim. Even with all of us combined, we couldn't fight a one-word battle armor master that time. Don't forget that the masters from our academy aren't comparable with those from the outside world. Besides, it would be impossible for any of us to become a master within such a short period. Gu poured cold water on Tang Wulin's enthusiasm. The 2 students from 3rd grade who possessed complete one-word battle armor were the biggest obstacle they would have to face. Let's just try our best then, Tang Wulin said while feeling helpless. The 1st and 2nd grade were tense those couple of days, especially for the students who were going to take part in the match with 3rd grade. The tensest atmosphere could be found at the working students' dormitory. They stayed up all night for 2 consecutive days to discuss their plans. There would be a total of 10 points available throughout the 3 rounds. The 1-against-1 match was worth 1 point, the 2-against-2 VARs worth 2 points, while the victorious 7-person team would earn 5 points. In the last round, victory would earn 3 points and performance would take 2 points. They must reach 6 points to win the friendly match. With that said, it would be best for them to score in every round. This was different from the matches between the 1st and 2nd grades. The friendly competition this time had attracted the attention of every grade in the outer court. The reason was throughout Shrek Academy history, there were barely any challenges that took such a great leap. According to the normal academic entry age, the difference between 1st and 3rd grade was 6 years. A 6-year gap was like heaven and earth among young soul masters. Meanwhile, 3rd grade Class 1 classroom had its own issues. Class President, the Academy is obviously punishing us by arranging such a thing. How dare the brats from 1st and 2nd grade challenge us? They must be overconfident, a young man whose body was slender and whose face a little lecherous said to another young man while crossing his legs. As 3rd grade students, their average age was around 18. The person he called Class President was a young man with a large body and an unsophisticated face. He could not be considered handsome, but he had an unwavering majesty. Just sitting there, he made people feel safe. He was like the pillar of the entire classroom, able to easily hold up the sky even if heaven was to collapse. He was the president of 3rd Class Grade 1, Li Qiankun. He was also one of the 2 one-word battle armor masters from his class. At 18 years old this year, he was a rank 52 shield battle soul master. His martial soul was very unique. It was called the Heaven and Earth Sphere, a rare variant martial soul. I've heard about the 1st and 2nd grades. We can't be careless, Li Qiankun said calmly. The lecherous one sat up. Captain, do we have to be so serious about it? The highest they could be is rank 40. How far could they be on the path of soul master cultivation? Please count me in on the 1-against-1 match this time. I guess the Academy arranged this battle mainly to suppress their imposing manner so they don't get too full of themselves. The lecherous young man was named Yi Wu, an agility-type battle soul master. His specialty was high-speed fights of all sorts, and he had completed 70% of his one-word battle armor. He was 17 this year and he had a good chance of becoming an inner court disciple by completing his battle armor before turning 20. He was the core member of 3rd grade class 1. Yi Wu, when will you stop being so cocky? A voice rang out clearly. Yi Wu subconsciously held his head down at hearing the speaker. He stood up at once and looked in the direction it came from. I was only joking, Sister Mo. I'm actually taking this very seriously. It was a young lady that approached him. She had long black hair flowing down her back, though her body was only average. Her face was sweet and pretty, but the gleam in her eyes belied a cold disposition. She walked to Li Qiankun and sat down. I've asked about them. This time there are at least 2 martial soul fusion skill teams among the little ones. One of them possesses the self-soul fusion skill while another possesses the true martial fusion skill. There is also the light and darkness fusion skill. The main team members have a cultivation base above rank 40, while a few hold a couple of pieces of battle armor made from spirit alloy. Although they are behind us in terms of power, our advantage is not as great as you imagine. We might embarrass ourselves if we don't tread carefully. Mo Yu was the vice president of 3rd grade class 1. She was the other battle armor master with a soul power rank of 51. Within the class, she held greater prestige than even Li Qiankun. She was tough but protective. Almost every student in the class benefited from her. She had a straightforward and strong character. She and Li Qiankun were the iron staff of 3rd grade class 1. These 2 would almost certainly enter the inner court in the future. They would be participating in the inner court's experience exam when the academic year ended. As long as they passed the experience exam, they would become official inner court disciples. Li Qiankun looked at Mo Yu. 2 martial soul fusion skills? What's their power like? Mo Yu shook her head. I don't know the exact details, but I speculate that they won't be a threat to our one-word battle armor. After all, one-word battle armor can elevate our ability to be on par with a normal soul sage. Overall their skill level is nowhere near our own, but the juniors' talents are quite outstanding. I heard one of them is almost a rank 6 blacksmith. That's the reason he was able to forge spirit alloys. Moreover, it's spirit alloy with a harmony rate of over 80%. We might even need him when we need to upgrade and advance to 2-word battle armor after we return from the experience exam. Li Qiankun smiled slightly. In that case, we should show mercy while still keeping our own strategy in mind. Mo Yu nodded. Just treat it as a normal match. As long as we take care of the 7-against-7 group battle, it costs us nothing if we let them win the first 2 rounds. We'll have to give our juniors some confidence. What I have in mind is that both of us split up so that one of us in the group battle and the other in the one-on-one fight. It would all work out as long as we manage to get at least 6 points. Sure, we'll follow your plan then. So which one are you participating in? Mo Yu smiled as she said, of course I'm going for the one that's easiest. I'll join the 1-against-1 match. I'll look at the situation during the group battle. If the young ones are too powerful, I'll join in as well. If we have too much of an upper hand in the beginning, I won't take part in the group battle. That'll work. Get me a couple more buns. Tang Wulin waved at Shulishi as he leaned on the chair. Shulishi looked at him with a little concern. Captain, are you sure you should be eating so much? Isn't this overdoing it? On this day, Tang Wulin's appetite was 50% greater than usual. He looked as if he was so full that he could no longer stand up. Tang Wulin forced a smile. Oh well. What if I don't have enough blood essence in the afternoon because I didn't eat enough? Since you're not joining the match, you can get me more buns when I'm done with the 2-against-2 match. The day of the match had finally come. Shrek Academy's outer court's first and second grades would be joining forces to challenge the third grade. The battle attracted the attention of all the outer court students. Normally it would be impossible to join the inner court for those who had not done so by the time they reached 4th grade. The only option available to them was to become a one-word battle armor master before they reached 6th grade and received their Shrek Academy graduation certificate. Consequently, there were not many one-word battle armor masters in the 3 higher grades because they would graduate from the outer court directly if they had become a one-word battle armor master and were over 20 years old. To a certain degree, the 3rd grade was considered the most powerful grade in the Academy's outer court, as it still had the most talented students. The most capable students of the higher grades would have entered the inner court much earlier, or they would have participated in the inner court experience exam. Such lively battles were hard to come by. It was just past lunch and the sparring arena was filled with outer court students and teachers. Without a doubt, the students taking part in today's friendly match all had the potential to enter the inner court in the future. They also represented the most powerful among the new generation. Students from 1st and 2nd grade Class 1 arrived much earlier and were hoping for a miracle. Meanwhile, the students from 3rd grade Class 1 seemed to be far more relaxed. Given the difference in ability, this could only be a friendly match. No matter how they calculated, there was no chance that the 1st and 2nd graders could win. Indeed, soul masters who had outstanding martial souls and powerful abilities would be able to perform above their own rank, but there was a limit to that. It was almost impossible to defeat an opponent who was a one-word battle armor master, due to the massive upper hand granted by the battle armor. Yuan and Yehui and Yu Jingyu had arrived much earlier. Both had a lot riding on this match. It would be embarrassing if the 2nd grade lost to the 1st. They wanted to prove themselves in this competition. The outer court headmaster Cai Yua arrived at the podium. Holy Spirit Doluo Yoli was there, as well as the teachers from the outer court. From the inner court, both Scarlet Dragon Doluo and Blazing Dragon Doluo were attending. Their main purpose here was, naturally, to watch Tang Wulin. All the title Doluos were led by the Holy Spirit Doluo. Are you ready? Wu Zhongkong looked at the 1st and 2nd grade students who stood before him and spoke with a cold, emotionless expression. We're ready, everyone shouted in unison. Yuan and Yehui will go for the 1-against-1 match. We have no idea what kind of formation they'll employ, but you must give your all in this round. Don't worry about the group battle later. Try your best to defeat your opponent. Yi Xinglan will go in the 2nd round and Wu Siduo will go on the 3rd. Yes, the 3 girls nodded simultaneously. Xu Xiaoyan smiled and said softly to Xie Xie, aren't you ashamed of yourself? Look, it's us girls who'll be participating in the 1-against-1 match. Xie Xie scoffed, there'll come a time for me to take one for the team. I'm just showing my chivalry. Xu Xiaoyan giggled. Hee hee. What are you laughing at? Hee hee. Tang Wulin squinted both eyes. Following Wu Zhangkong's arrangement, they would have to win the 1-against-1 battle and an additional 2 rounds. After that, they must win the 2-against-2 match where the pressure would be on him and Gu. The fight against their opponents in the group battle would be so difficult that they would most likely only be able to score 2 points. If they managed to get 3 or 4 points at the start, they could reach their objective for the friendly match by acquiring some performance points during the group battle in the end. The difference in ability between them and the other team was significant, after all. To achieve such a result would be fantastic. All the best, Yuanan. Xie Xie cheered loudly for Yuanan. Yuan and Yehui glared at him, then sat cross-legged on the spot and began to adjust herself. As president of 2nd grade Class 1, there was no doubting the excellence of her capabilities. She was confident of victory in the 1st round. Beside third grade class 1 was their teacher Song Lin, an experienced middle-aged lady from the outer court, and a two-word battle armor master. First round. Go, Wu Rui, Song Lin said to the boy before her who looked to be about 18 or 19 years old. Go easy on them, Song Lin spoke with a calm smile. Wu Rui's martial soul was heavenly book. Rank 48 soul power, he was one of the most powerful team members from third grade class 1. He was a control-type battle soul master. However, his strength in battle was clearly not the most potent in a 1 versus 1 match. Song Lin did not plan to sweep the friendly competition against the joint first and second grade team. To discourage the younger students was not a good idea. Therefore she chose Wu Rui, whose personal battle strength was top 5 in the class for the first round. Naturally, she figured that defeating him would still pose a significant challenge for the first and second graders. Elder Cai stepped into the air. There was a glowing silver flash as she arrived on the battle ring. Please send forth your participant for the first 1-against-1 match. 2 silhouettes ascended on both sides of the sparring arena simultaneously, eliciting cheers from the students of all grades at once. Wu Rui landed gently on the battle ring. His features were elegant and he possessed a peaceful demeanor. He had one hand before him and the other at his back. His hair was immaculately combed. With a subtle grin on his face, he went so far as to wave at the people below the ring. He was known for his love of showboating. If not for the academy prohibiting romantic relationships among students in the outer court, he would have kept himself busy from the start. Yuan Yehue landed steadily in the arena. Her clothes were still like those of a boy and there was nothing unusual about her appearance. However, cheering began from second grade class 1 as soon as she entered the battle ring. Wu Rui, third grade class 1. Wu Rui faced Yuan with a slight smile, revealing his white teeth. His eyes showed no sign of provocation or arrogance. The only thing he wished to be seen was his pretty boy facade. Yuan Yehue, second grade class 1, Yuan said calmly. Wu Rui smiled and said, "Oh, you're the president of second grade class 1. I've heard about you. Twin martial souls are quite an achievement. All the best, all right?" Yuan Yehue remained silent. Wu Rui kept talking, "Don't force yourself if you can't handle it. Not to worry. As your senior, I'll show mercy. We're schoolmates after all. Be diligent in the future and you might eventually reach my level." Below the battle ring, Song Lin felt she had made a bad decision. She now regretted putting this blusterer into the first round. The lad was capable, but he was a sweet talker who loved to put on a show. He took great pleasure in showing off. It was obvious that he could not help himself when he had an audience of so many students from 6 grades. Silence. Why are you talking so much? Elder Cai scowled and interrupted him directly. Elder Cai, I'm just expressing my concern for my junior. Elder Cai glared at him. The battle begins now. Be careful, junior brother. Wu Rui was still sweet-talking, but Yuan Yehue had already advanced. She was a person of few words and preferred to let her actions speak for her. She stomped her left foot hard on the ground and shot out like a cannonball. In midair, her body began to grow rapidly. It was her third soul skill, Diamond Titan. Wu Rui could not help but widen his eyes in astonishment as he witnessed the speed of her tremendous growth. Even while releasing his martial soul he was dumbfounded as he spoke, "What the dash? That's enormous. Gigantic." Yuan Yehue punched her fist into the air. Before the blow could land, an evil wind struck her face. It was a battle between the control and assault systems. Wu Rui was very confident in himself. With a sudden flash in front of his face, a thick book bound in blue appeared before him. The book flipped itself open and turned to the first page. Out of nowhere, countless dark green vines dashed from the pages and rushed towards Yuan Yehue like a wild beast. The vines were extremely thick, and with her body at such a great size, it was impossible for Yuan Yehue to evade them. In fact, she had no plan of even attempting to dodge them. She continued her advance against Wu Rui as her body crashed into the vines. That's not very smart, junior brother, Wu Rui exclaimed while flipping through the book in his hands. With a flash, he disappeared into thin air. The next second, he reappeared 10 meters away, escaping Yuan and Yehue's blow. Meanwhile, the thick vines had wrapped themselves around Yuan and Yehue's body. Plant and spatial attributes. 2 different attributes. Tang Wulin had a look of surprise in his eyes as he watched Wu Rui in the battle ring. How exactly did such a martial soul function? His martial soul, Heavenly Book, isn't elemental control but acts to store some of his abilities. Meanwhile, each of his soul rings would add a page of soul skill storage to the Heavenly Book. He has stored bind and teleportation in the pages and has honed his skills in the control system. Such a martial soul is untraceable and the power might be unrestrained, but it would be hard to handle if he does not have the proper storage and coordination. Wu Zhongkong gave an explanation on the Heavenly Book with his cold voice. Tang Wulin had just realized how powerful Adoluo was with these wondrous martial souls. It was obvious that Yuan and Yehue was in trouble now. The vines began to tighten their grip on her. They seemed to be much more powerful than Tang Wulin's blue-silver grass vines. HMPH. Yuan and Yehue scoffed in anger. The first soul ring on her body shone brilliantly. It was Titan strength. She grabbed the vines with her monstrous arms, loudly tearing them apart one by one. It was a combination of Diamond Titan and Titan strength. In terms of pure strength alone, the only person who could compare with Yuan and Yehue in Shrek Academy's outer court was Tang Wulin with his golden dragon body. Such great strength. Junior brother, you're very strong. Here I come again. Another cluster of vines dashed towards her. They were even more overwhelming this time as they swept toward Yuan and Yehue in a massive swarm. Wu Rui's battle methodology was very simple. As a control-type soul master, he could win as long as he continuously kept Yuan and Yehue under pressure and drained her soul power until she was completely exhausted. After that, it would take little effort for him to control her and toss her out of the ring. Even Wu Rui's seemingly nonsensical chatter served a purpose, as it was a means to provoke his opponent. Wu Rui himself was a cunning survivor who made the most of his teleportation skill on the battlefield. Yuan and Yudi scoffed coldly, still aiming her blows at Wu Rui. The only way that she could free herself from the vines wrapped around her was to struggle and tear them apart continuously. Wu Rui was shocked when the air cannon arrived at him in an instant. However, the book in his hands was flipping automatically, and a mirror appeared before him in the blink of an eye. The air cannon that had been fired at him was suddenly redirected towards Yuan and Yehue. This was the power of the reflective mirror, Wu Rui's third soul skill. This soul skill would be highly effective if he was to use it wisely in the group battle. As Yuan and Yehue was bound by the twisting vines, her agility was limited. Looking at the air cannon coming closer, all she could do was punch it, negating her own air cannon. From the looks of the battle at that moment, Yuan and Yehue had fallen into Wu Rui's trap. There was no doubt as to the result when it was a control-type soul master restraining an assault type. A glow flashed in Yuan and Yehue's eyes and suddenly her body shrank at an alarming rate. A cluster of dark purple flames then rose from her body. Right away the vines coiled around her began to burn and turn to ash. As her body shrunk, she was left wearing only a tight, stretchable suit. Her boyish image was instantly transformed, revealing her feminine beauty. A pair of black wings unfurled from her back. With the flame of the shadow demon sword burning, she got within striking distance of Wu Rui almost instantly. It was her martial soul fallen angel which was part of both the assault and agility system. Damn, you transformed from a boy to a girl. Wu Rui yelled and teleported himself while dodging the attack again. There were changes in the pages of his book once more. A golden glow came dazzling down from the sky and landed directly on Yuan and Yehue's body. Something strange happened. There was another Yuan and Yehue separate from her own body. She didn't have the same alertness in her eyes as Yuan and Yehue, but the rest of her appearance was exactly like her fallen angel form. Cloning. It was Wu Rui's fourth soul skill. With the 4 control system skills that were teleportation, bind, reflective mirror, and cloning, Wu Rui had been ranked as the top control-type soul master in 3rd grade class 1. He was also granted the opportunity to one day enter the inner court. Yuan Yehue was a little stunned as she faced her own copy. Her opponent's tactics were truly endless. However, having gained a great deal of battle experience, she knew that any duplicate made using the cloning skill would be much weaker compared to the original. Otherwise, it would no longer be as simple as a soul skill. Suddenly, Yuan Yehue's body became a little illusory as she dashed forth with her sword held horizontally. Shadowy images emanated from the shadow demon sword in her hand. At the same time, curtain of darkness bloomed from her body and covered the entire battle ring immediately. The clone possessed all of the soul skills that Yuan Yehue had, but its power was only 60% of her own. Wu Rui could achieve 80% if he managed to elevate his soul skill to a black soul ring in the future. He could even achieve 90% if he had a 100,000-year soul ring. However, he could not do that at the moment. The clone's main purpose was to buy him time to look for an opening to slip in an attack. A huge tangle of vines dashed toward her as soon as the clone appeared. The curtain of darkness spread out at the same time. Within the curtain of darkness, teleportation would be greatly affected as Yuan Yehue would be able to tell his location immediately no matter where he teleported to. This turn of events filled Wu Rui's heart with shock. They had spent time looking into Yuan Yehue's capabilities. She was the monitor of second-grade Class 1, so more likely than not, she would have been their strongest competitor in the duel. He did not expect that she would be sent out in the first match. According to their initial investigation, Yuan Yehue's martial soul was Titan Giant Ape. She was an extremely powerful strength system assault-type battle soul master whose attack range covered a large area. Despite researching Yuan Yehue's abilities so thoroughly, they were not able to ascertain that she was female, let alone the fact that she was capable of transforming into the fallen angel. Wu Rui was initially very excited when he faced Yuan Yehue at the start of the match. His manipulative abilities worked well against strength-type battle soul masters like Yuan Yehue. He could depend on his control skills, and his soul power exceeded hers by a margin wide enough that victory would be a simple matter of exhausting her. Yet who would have predicted that moments into the match Yuan Yehue's Titan Giant Ape would turn into the Fallen Angel? The Fallen Angel was so powerful because it was equipped with the characteristics of the agility, assault, and even control systems. It was an exceedingly comprehensive high-grade spirit soul. Even though his heavenly book martial soul was also extremely rare, there was still a huge gap between its power and the Fallen Angels. The clone could buy him some time for now, but the difference between the replica and the original was obvious. The curtain of darkness also rendered his teleportation far less effective. As a student of Shrek Academy, how could he not understand that the overall soul power of a twin martial soul was much stronger than a regular martial soul in a soul master of the same rank? He would not necessarily triumph over Yuan Yehue in this competition just by tiring her out. Backed into a corner, he had only one option left. A dazzling light beamed out from within the pitch-black arena. The curtain of darkness could no longer conceal the brilliant glow. Silently, his heavenly book expanded by several pages, and Wu Rui emerged from the shadows enshrouded by a marvelous halo. Countless bands of white light reached outwards from his torso. He now wore armor like white jade branded onto his chest. The white light bands intertwined and quickly covered his chest and back, increasing his power at an astonishing rate. Wu Rui continued swinging his arms as many more streaks of white light flew out from his storage ring and swiftly wrapped around his body. The breastplate, pauldrons, vambraces, gauntlets, and war kilt appeared in quick succession. Only his legs and head were left unarmored. In battle armor terms, pieces consisted of the armor covering certain parts of the body. The armor covering the hands and forearms was considered one piece, as was that guarding the shoulders and upper arms. The waist protector and war kilt were also one piece, while the breastplate alone was a single piece, bringing Wu Rui to a total of 6 large pieces. The armor lacked any kind of ornate designs, but his power immediately increased several-fold when he donned it. Yes, this was one-word battle armor. Even though his armor was still incapable of fusing into his body, to have 6 pieces gave Wu Rui an enormous boost. The heavenly book before him flipped at lightning speed. The vines, now grown thicker by at least a third of their original thickness, rushed out like a swarm of bees, covering the entire arena in an instant. Like an enormous web, they moved towards Yuan and Yehue. 6 pieces of battle armor. He definitely deserved the renown of being one of the seniors in the 3rd grade. There were already quite a lot of people gasping aloud in surprise below the stage. Wu Rui was a genius student who would very likely become a one-word battle armor master before the age of 21. It was also highly probable that he could enter the inner court. As 3rd grade Class 1's Master Control Soul Master, these 6 pieces of battle armors were his best-kept secret. Even though the one-word battle armor was not the most beautiful to look at, its effect in aiding the Soul Master was undisputed. Yuan and Yehue scoffed coldly before she looked up to the sky and howled. The dark purple aura surrounding her body suddenly increased in intensity. A streak of purple light surged skywards. The glow from her body dimmed while the wings on her back grew larger. Her eyes turned a deep purple color as a phantom figure appeared behind her back as her 3rd soul ring glowed brightly. It was black as ink with tinges of purple. It was the fallen angel's arrival. Flames over 10 feet long shot out from the shadow demon sword. The flames flickered and cut away the vines as they rapidly made their way towards Wu Rui. I don't know if I should call you junior brother or junior sister, loser. Yuanen, being a battle armor master, became the most sought-after occupation in the continent for the simplest of reasons, power. His sparkling white aura extended to every piece of armor on his body while a dazzling radiance arose from the heavenly book. A brilliant beam descended from the sky and fell upon Yuan and Yehue's body once more, creating yet another clone. The strength of this replica's body was apparently greater than before. It had at least 70% of Yuan and Yehue's cultivation base. With the boost provided by the battle armor, my soul power is increased twice over, and the strength of my clones is increased as well. Even your curtain of darkness is incapable of stopping my teleportation now. Moreover, my teleportation is limitless. This makes me unstoppable. You'll never win. Surrender now and conserve your energy. Perhaps it will be useful later on in the competition. Wu Rui spoke to Yuan and Yehue with a bantering tone about the vine's reinforcement and his replica's strong resistance. Yuan and Yehue's attack was immediately suppressed. With the emergence of his battle armor, Wu Rui regained the lead in the battle. Yuan and Yehue's violet eyes appeared cold and emotionless. Her shadow devil sword struck out wildly, forcing the replica confronting her to retreat. The next moment her body was frozen solid. Her entire person seemed to have come to a standstill, as though she had been turned into a statue. What is she doing? Wu Rui was stunned for a moment, but he did not stop his attack. Countless intertwining vines wrapped around Yuan and Yehue rapidly. The clone too marched forward. It slashed at Yuan and Yehue's head with its replica shadow devil sword. Meanwhile, Wu Rui saw a soul ring. One that was as black as ink. When Yuan and Yehue transformed into the fallen angel, it had appeared that she had only 3 soul rings beforehand. The appearance of this 4th soul ring was entirely unexpected. Moreover, its color was black. Black signified a 10,000-year soul ring. A 10,000-year soul ring and even a 10,000-year spirit soul. The shadow-like phantom behind her back solidified in a flash. Taking the form of an adult Yuan and Yehue, it stepped forward and engulfed her body. The duplicate's attack had only just arrived when it fused into the darkness and vanished in an instant. What's going on here? The heavenly book flipped rapidly due to Wu Rui's shock. Another beam of light from the cloning skill fell upon her once again, but when the light struck Yuan and Yehue's body, no replica appeared. Wu Rui's soul skill was no longer effective. Amazingly, she was capable of concealing her soul ring. The 4th soul ring was actually her fallen angel martial soul's true power. Below the stage, the expressions of the students from 3rd grade Class 1, Tang Wulin, and the others were filled with shock. How long had Yuan and Yehue possessed the 10,000-year soul ring without anyone noticing? What was happening here? The pitch-black figure extended its body. It was still Yuan and Yehue's fallen angel, but its height had already grown to over 3 meters. The shadow devil sword was no longer illusory but had now taken a solid form. The dark purple sword's body was densely engraved with a magnificent pattern. Streaks upon streaks of electric purple energy glowed around the long sword. Yuan and Yehue's eyes also took on a deep purple hue. None knew how this purple angel could have manifested, flapping 3 pairs of wings by her shoulder. Its gaze was cold and emotionless, glimmering with a bloodthirsty aura. This was Yuan and Yehue's spirit soul. Moreover, it was definitely not the first spirit soul. The shadow devil sword stabbed into the air and the light within the battle arena became twisted. Wu Rui turned pale with fear and was about to escape when he suddenly discovered that his teleportation failed. She's using the power of darkness to control the fabric of space. How is this possible? Countless vines extended out rapidly in an attempt to grab Yuan and Yehue and give Wu Rui more time to plan. However, he found himself completely unable to lock down his opponent's location. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.